Hey everybody. So you may be wondering what you're looking at. And what you're looking at here is a fun way of exploring functions, domain range, all that good stuff. I know a lot of students are always like, why do I need to know about domain? Why do I need to know about range? Well, this is a pretty awesome, fun project to really tell you the importance and show you the importance. So what you're looking at is my work of art that I used I used equations and domain and range to accomplish this wonderful, beautiful piece of work of art. Actually, I am aware that this is just a stick figure. I was actually motivated by a gentleman called Matthew Williams. I suppose his name is probably because look at that. So basically, he used a bunch of equations, some very complex like log equations, some trig equations, in order to draw this picture. So for example, if I hide some of this orange, I'm probably going to be hiding some of his hair. So click on that, notice a piece of his hair went away. Let me click on that, another piece of his hair went away. So as you can see, he used various equations in order to accomplish this drawing here. Um, I'm just clicking on the orange so you can see it go away as piece by piece. Okay, all right, so the point is he put those equations together and that resulted. Now, for various reasons, we are only going to work on something like this. The first reason is this is targeted just for an Algebra 1 class, so most of our equations are going to be linear. I'll step outside of that for a bit, maybe to just get a circle. Another reason that uh, our drawing won't be too complicated is the fact that my art skills are pretty poor. And the third reason that our drawing won't be too complicated is it would take a very, very long time in order to program all those equations into this calculator. All right, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to Desmos. So I think I neglected to say that this was a Desmos calculator drawing. So I'm going to Google Desmos and it actually comes right up and I want to start graphing right away. And so the graph loads. So this is a nice empty coordinate plane and this is where you type your equations. So it's a stick figure that we're going to draw and the first thing that you need is its head. So the head is a circle and I know that circles aren't usually covered in Algebra 1 classes. So I'll get into this. This will probably take be the slowest part of my explanation. So circles, the equation of a circle always has an x squared and a y squared. So it's x squared plus y squared, and it also has to have the radius. So the x squared plus y squared should always be equal to the radius squared. So if I want my radius to be 4, if I want my radius to be 2, then I'm going to put 4 here. And so now, as you can see, we created a circle with a radius of 2. All right, but let's say I want to move my circle. The first thing that you want to do is make sure your x is in parentheses and your y is also in parentheses. All right, now that gives you the option to move your circle anywhere that you want to on the coordinate plane. Subtracting from x moves it to the right, and subtracting from y moves it up. So I want my circle to be moved 5 to the right. So I'm going to subtract 5, and notice it moved from 0 over here. So now it's moved 5 to the right. I want to move it up as well. I want to move it 10 up, so I'm going to subtract 10. And as you can see, I moved my circle 5 to the right, 10 up. So you can move your circle if you're going to create something like this accordingly. You can move it to the left as well by adding, or move it down by adding. Okay. So that's how you create a circle. Now for a while we're going to be focused on lines. I'm going to get the body in and I'll color everything later. You'll see how the color works. So the body is going to be vertical. Of course, she's going to be really skinny, has a nice vertical body. A vertical line is usually x equals. So I want my vertical line right here at x equals 5. So x equals 5, and notice I have a nice vertical line. It's blue, I'll color it later. But this is a line, not a line segment, and we need a line segment because I don't need her body to be infinitely long. So for now, and I may go back and change this, but for now I want her body to start at 0 and end at 8. So what I'm telling you is I want to give this a range from 0 to 8. In order to type in the range here, oops, I did not mean to move this, so I'll just put that back to 5. In order to type the range in here, I put a curly bracket and I say that I want my range to be from 0 is less than y, which is, and look at what happened here, it cut that out there, but which is less than 8. And now I have a body on this stick figure. So we're going to do a series of that where we're just typing in linear equations and typing in the range or the domain as necessary. So now I'm going to type in something for, I want to give her a skirt. So I'm going to type in the waistline of her skirt at y equals 5. Remember, horizontal lines are y equals. And again, that skirt is way too wide. Her waist is definitely not that wide. So I want her waistline to go from maybe, let's say 4 to 6. That would be reasonable. So then we go 4 is less than x, which is less than 6. And so now we have the top of her skirt. All right, so now I want to create the entire skirt. So now I feel like a dressmaker here. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing this a little bit faster. So y equals 5x. So notice I gave this slope of 5, but it needs to be moved down some. So the y-intercept needs to be a little bit lower. So let's experiment. Let's say 5x minus 10. Well, it's not down enough. So then we could go ahead and experiment some more and look at that. Now it's perfectly hitting where it should. But again, my range is all off. It's just going up and down way too much. So I can put in my range. I'm going to put in my range from 1 to 5. So y is less than, 1 is less than y, which is less than 5. And close those. And now the other side, so if her skirt has a slope of 5 going that way, it's probably going to have the negative 5 slope going this way. So y equals negative 5. And it looks like we need the x, there we go. And it needs to move up, and I already tested this out, so I'm going to just do plus 35. And it's in the right spot, but now we need the range. So, all right, so we have a range of 1 is the same range. 1 is less than y, which is less than 5. And now her skirt starting to look like a skirt. And so now we need to close it at the bottom right here, which is a horizontal line, y equals 1. And we give that a domain. And the domain that I want to give that is, I already tested this out, 3.2 is less than x, which is less than 6.8. And now we have a skirt, and it's pretty. All right, it's actually 4 colors, but we'll fix that later. All right, so now that we have a skirt, we can keep going. I want to give her a face because it's kind of creeping me out that she doesn't have a face. In order to give her a face, we need some points. So I want a point going, let's say, right here, about 4.5 and 10.5. So let's just stick that in, 4.5, comma, 10.5. And now she has an eye. And let's give her another eye at 5.5, comma, 10.5. Her eyes are different colors, but that's all right. We'll fix it later. I'm going to give her a nice little button nose. So I want her nose to be at 5.10. 5, comma, 10. And now she has a nose, but she has no mouth. I want her mouth to be 2 lines. So let's check this out. Y equals, and again, you saw how I moved the lines around. I kind of did that earlier, so I'm just going by what I know will work. But that's, when you're doing yours, you're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error. So y equals negative 0.5x plus 11.5. That's a part of her lovely smile, but let's give that a domain from 4 to 5. 4 is less than x, which is less than 5. And now we have half a mouth. So let's get that other half in. Y equals, and so it's going to be opposite sign because the slope has to be opposite, going the other way. All right, so plus 6.5, and so now we have her other half of the mouth, but it's way too much. So let's give it a domain of 5 to 6. And that looks pretty good. It's a little bit lopsided, so we can move that down a bit if we want. So let's say 6.5. That looks a little bit better. All right, cool. So now we can give her something else. So let's make this a surprise. Aha. So y equals 7x minus 15 is what I have here. What do you think is going to appear when I move this down 15? That is definitely not the right equation. This was supposed to be her hair. So we're going to actually have to move that up a bit. So let's move it up to, let's try 13. Let's move it up some more. 11. Looks good right there. All right. So her hair, obviously, is not infinitely long. So we're going to have to give this a range. So let's give her hair a range from, let's say 6 to 10 and a half. No, let's say 6 to 10 and a half. All right, so 6 is less than x, which is less than 10.5. Definitely made a mistake here, and the mistake is that should be the range, not the domain. There we go. Let's see how this is important and how it's relevant. Of course, not everybody's going to be making stick figures every day, but I think it's pretty cool. All right. So if you want to stay with me for the rest of the video, please do. If not, you can move forward, fast forward through, but I'll just be typing the rest in as quickly as I can, which is not that quickly. All right, so y equals negative 7x plus 55, but that's not high enough, so let's go with try 60. Let's try 59. Perfect. Same range. So 6 is less than y, which is less than 10.5. And that's her hair. And then the next one, equation 14, x is equal to 4. And that's supposed to be the top of her shirt, I believe. So x is equal to 4, so we're going to move that, have that range from 5 to 8. So let's see, 5 is less than y, which is less than 8. That is a beautiful shirt. All right, let's do her other part of her shirt. X is equal to 6, another vertical line here. And do the range, again, it's the same, so from 5 to 8. And her shirt is looking really nice with the multicolors. All right, just trying to keep you entertained while I type the next 7 equations, I think it is. All right, so now I want to give her shirt a top. I'm going to give her a little V-neck. So y is equal to 0.1, x plus 7.3. So as you can see, let's make that 7.4. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is get a little V going on here. It's not a very deep V, but it's good. She's you know, conservative. All right. So now we have the range. I'm going to go from, no, let's do the domain from 5 to 6. 5 is less than x, which is less than 6. So we close that top there. Let's do the other side of her shirt. So again, since we have 0.1 here, it's going to be flipped. It's going to be negative 0.1 x. Let's do plus 8.3 and see if we have to move it. Let's move it up a little bit to 8.4. All right, and then give it a domain. We could do, yeah, the domain is easier. It's more clear in this case because it's going from 4 to 5. All right, so 4 is less than x, which is less than 5. All right, so she has no arms and she has no legs, and her body can be seen right through her dress. So let's get that body not seen through her dress. Oh, why is her head hanging out right on top of? This is so funny. Let's move her head up a little bit. I think I changed her head size. Her head looks enormous right now, but we're just going to move it up. In order to move her head up, we have to change the Y. So let's try 11. Oh boy, but now she's looking down. Ha, that's great. All right, let's move it not so much. 10.5. Oh, okay, cool. Now she just has a really big forehead, and that's fine. All right, and let's make this line here her body. Let's change the domain of that so it matches well. So now we want that body to just go from here to here. It's actually super short. From, let's see, this is 7, 8, so 7.9 to 8.5. All right, this is becoming long, I'm sorry, but I know you're dying of suspense, so let's just make it work. There we go. So now we can see her neck. And let's look at some arms. She needs some arms. Let's make her arms do something interesting. All right, so we are here to do, let's see, I think this is not an arm. Let's see, Y equals 7.5. Actually, those are both of her arms. Now I want to show you something interesting here. I don't want to see her arm through her body. That makes no sense. But I want to see it on the left. I want to see it on the right. So I'm going to give 2 domains, and that's totally doable. So I open the curly bracket, and I do between 3 and 4. So 3 is less than x, which is less than 4. And I do a comma, and then I go again, and I say 6 is less than x, which is less than 7. And now we have the part of her arm before the elbow. Let's give her arms something to do. Let's have her wave. All right, so then let's make it y equals 5x minus 28. Now she is waving at us, but that's an enormous arm. So let's close that domain in a little bit, or maybe the range. So let's open our curly brackets here. Let's go from 7.5 to 9. And now she's waving. All right, let's have her other arm maybe rest on her hips or on her waistline. So y is equal to 2x. Let's make it negative because we want it to bend backwards to her waistline. There we go. Plus 13.5. And let's fix that range so that it makes sense here. So I want it to go from here to here. So let's say y is from 5.5 to 7.5. And now she's looking a little sassy. She's waving. Her hands are on her waist. She's like, yeah, I'm cool. All right, we're almost there. She just needs legs, because without legs, who can really be that cool? All right, so vertical lines, her legs, I don't want her dancing. It's too much for me at the moment. X equals 4. It's a nice vertical line, but let's give it a range from 0 to 1. 0 is less than y, which is less than 1. Now she has a little leg. And now let's give her the second leg at, let's say, 6. X is equal to 6. And so we can go 0 is less than y, which is less than 1. And now we have a beautiful girl, multicolored, with a humongous forehead. She's creeping me out a little bit because her eyes are 2 different colors. So let's just change that, but keep everything else the same because I know you want to finish this video. So I'm going to click on this eye, and as you can see, it highlights what is causing that eye to happen. And so I can click, so I click for long, I click and hold, and I'm going to make, why would I make her both eyes red? That's weird, but I'm going to do it anyway. There we go. Now she has the same color eyes. and we're good. So that's how you change the color. That's why I wanted to show you that last thing. That's how you create a drawing. So I encourage you now to go ahead, make your own little drawing. It could be a stick figure, it could be a house, it could be a masterpiece like our good friend Matthew Williams did. I'm curious to see what you come up with. So if you do something, leave it in the comments below. Thanks. Have a great one.